Hey everyone. I've been seeing a lot of things online now about the Smith & Wesson SD40VE. This one, of course, is mine. And there's been a lot of different questions about, what combination to try to get the best overall performance out of the trigger, recoil management, grip, sights, things of that nature. I'm going to primarily focus on right now to help out my followers, anybody else that has one of these pistols or is interested in getting one, to let you know that I don't care what anybody says online about these pistols. It is a great starting point. It's a quality block to start on, and you can make into it what you want to get out of it. And for anybody who doesn't know, and I'm sure a lot of you already do know, the SDVE stands for SD self-defense, VE value enhanced. Now, there is an SD40, which doesn't have some of the features that this one has. But as far as I understand, the other one, it just has like a regular finished slide. It's not a stainless slide, and there might be some other minor differences. But this one in particular here, we're going to go over what I did as far as mechanical trigger upgrades, and what I basically, I'm not going to say compromise on, what I settled on for my intended purposes. We're going to be primarily a concealed carry pistol. First off, I just want to let everybody know that this pistol is clear. It is clear. The magazine is empty. So we have that right there. We put the magazine aside. The combination that I used on this pistol, I went with an Apex trigger and a complete Apex spring kit and Apex sear. I'm sorry, the sear was the factory sear, but I polished it. Put the slide aside. We can go over that in a moment. Okay. I don't know if this is going to show up, but I'm going to try to use the laser pointer. Yeah, we're going to work. Okay. There, right there is your, of course, Apex trigger. Did away with the standard hinge trigger. This gives you a lot more leverage, and it eliminates some of that take up. Also, the design, the geometry of this trigger is designed to do that also. It gives you a much better take up and a cleaner break. And of course, you have your safety dingus, a safety bar, which is perfectly functional. There is, just so you know, there is going to be, you will need to tune it. And there's a back of the trigger, if you move this down, right where it meets right about there, you can adjust your brake. Some people are having problems with the brake of the trigger. It's right there, right in the back of the trigger. Make sure before you do any light filing on that, pull that up, and you can just take a little at a time, a couple of strokes, so you get the fit that you need. I also like kind of deburred in this area because there was some molding marks. I don't think it had any mechanical implication, but I just did it anyway. Okay, next. This spring right here was the only spring that I did not replace. That's your trigger return spring. That is actually an M&P 2.0 return spring. The original springs are unbelievable. I think they're designed for like an 8 to a 10 pound trigger weight. This one right here, I'll get to the actual weight afterwards, it's a compromise, and I'm going to tell you why, and I'm going to get to that. But what I did is I replaced that spring. I replaced inside here, don't know if you can see it. Let's see if I can bring this up. Let me use this probably better. There is a sear spring down in here. So when you actuate the trigger, there's a sear spring down there that has to be replaced. Of course, the striker spring, and then there's a little extra goo on there, the striker plunger spring. I also put in, of course, a 20-pound stainless steel guide rod. Get to that when I get to the slide. Okay, the combination that Apex has for this setup, if you use their trigger, you use their trigger return spring, sear spring, you're supposed to end up with about a 4.5 to 5 pound pull. What I did is I actually polished the contact points. I polished the sides of the trigger bar. I deburred with some 1000 grit sandpaper. Actually deburred the contact points here, here, and here. And then I polished it with some Jeweler's Rouge on all those contact points. Now, if you notice, when you pull back on the trigger, and then you notice the let go. I don't know if you can see it. If I had a third hand, this would be really good. But there is a point right in there, right in this area, right in here. See that, where that contact's made right there? When you move that like this, right in there. I want you to watch that really close. See if I can get a good shot on it. Ready? See that? And watch how it resets. Watch this reset. Watch your trigger reset. Now it's all the way back. Now you pull it out. And there's your reset. See that? Pull back. Push down on the trigger bar. Sear lets go. And then you reset. Watch in here. See how that goes back underneath and captured the sear. Okay. Now pull back. Trigger pull. And this is actually simulating the slide moving back and forth. And the sear lets go. So this is the point. There's a lot of drag over here too. And this is one of the, I guess it was an inexpensive way for them to differentiate this from like an M&P. The M&P has a completely different sear design. And this right here, there's a lot of friction underneath here and on this very point, on this point. So if you can slightly deburr this and polish those contact points, that when you get that take up and you get this, that let off, that, especially when you're coming back for the reset, once you have those surfaces deburred and mated, I'm not saying modified, do not modify the angles, smooth them up. You're going to feel, but it's not going to be gritty. It's going to kind of roll around almost like it's on a ball bearing. And that helps with a nice, smooth reset. And also with the brake, you bring it back, and it's going to break better. It's going to break crisper. It's going to break with less creep and less grit. Also, when you polish these areas, and you notice I have some, looks like black grease. That's a lead-based armorer's grease, and I'm going to show you what I use on that. I did a lot of research on this, and when I was an armorer's assistant, we would use this product right here. It's called Armorer's Choice. Now, I took the label off and stuck it on the little can. Now, what it is it's a lead-based grease. And this actually will impregnate itself, the lead, it'll impregnate itself into the microscopic pores of the metal itself, and it will create a lubricant. Now, I usually wear gloves. Of course, it's lead-based. I mean, be careful. It's not like highly toxic, but don't eat it, Anyhow, you can take a little of that, and then you can place a little in these areas, a little on your sear, here, a little here, a little here, just wipe a little here, just keep it tight, and then a little over here. And then, of course, like I said, this right here is actually a Smith & Wesson spring. Now, the reason why I'm going to get back to this, why I did that, why I did not use the Apex spring and use this, because on my reset, the Apex spring was resetting, and it was giving me a pretty good reset. But that half a pound difference in my opinion, made a big difference from a tactile and a positive reset. It goes forward with authority now, and is not that, half a pound isn't that much, especially for a carry pistol. The trigger actually has more strength to it, comes forward with better reset, and that right there is why I want it. It has a stronger and more positive reset. And it actually, this combination shortened the reset just a little bit, and I'll show you in a second. But before I reassemble it, I'm going to show you the slide. Let me take this off. Okay. All right. 20-pound recoil spring, and you can change it, you can calibrate it. But I keep it 20-pound, and this thing shoots nice and flat. It definitely dampens the recoil, and it shoots flat, and it's less snappy. So what does that mean? Better accuracy and less flex. There are some people say that these will batter or damage your frame. Smith & Wesson say they could void your warranty, so use it at your own risk. I mean, let's face it, you could probably pick up another pistol for a couple $100 if you broke it, but I haven't seen any problems with it. Okay. Armorer's grease. More of this stuff. I place some on the surfaces, just on the surfaces. It's a little heavy now because I wanted to give it time to actually embed itself. And you can see where, right here, where this bar right here is dragging in here. See the drag point? You can see where the grease actually drags across. This depresses your firing pin safety block. And of course, this simultaneously will drop your sear. So I put a little on the sear, just a little with a Q-tip, just tickle it on there. A little here, a little there, on the drag points. Polish it, put this on there, and it will absolutely help. And you don't have to keep that much on there, but it's not going to harm anything. It's a really good combination, and it does definitely aid in lubricity and to cause an anti-friction. Other things really quick. I put that on just because I thought it looked good and it was different. Sights. True Glow. Fiber optics. And when these things get out in the sunlight, I had actually, when I was outside, I pulled it out, and these actually, they look like they're battery powered, just under natural sunlight. Not even sunlight, even if it's just outside natural light. These things light up really nice, and these are extremely accurate sights. And for those of you who want to know, these sights are Smith & Wesson M&P sights. So anything for M&P 2.0, they will fit. I think they were about $45 or $50, and they're steel. They're all steel, and of course they have the fiber optic rod inserts, and these are not interchangeable rods. They are what they are. So there's your sight picture. Okay, what I'm going to do now, put her back together real quick. There you go. She goes all the way down onto the second shoulder. Okay. So there you go. Ready? We have, okay, cocked. I mean, there's like no grit. It's just a solid take up, and there's your brake. There's your reset. You can hear that. Brake. Reset. Hear that? Fast. Tactile. You can feel it. You can feel the feedback in your finger, and you can hear it. There's no mistaking that. You bring that out right at that point. Now I'm going to grab the trigger gauge. She comes in right around 5 pounds. And I will, oops, see that? Stepped on the cord. I'm not doing a reshoot. You can forget about it. Oh, this is great. It's like the football follies today. And we are not having a good day. Okay, let's get back on track. Try not to laugh at me too much. All right. Now, as I was saying, okay, pull out the trusty Wheeler gauge. I wonder how many people tuned out after that. Look at this guy. He's knocking his stuff all over the place. Okay, we got our Wheeler gauge right here. Nice old school gauge. Does the job. So, that one actually came in at over 5 pounds, like 5.5. It's slipping. The foot keeps slipping. It's so hard to get that foot to stay on. I got to get a better gauge. See, that one just came in at 5.5. It all depends, but come on, don't make a liar out of me. There you go. I got a good pull that time. You're at just about 5 pounds. It's like 4 3/4 pounds, 5 pounds. That's the honest setting. We take another one for good measure. You got to get this. That's the thing with this gauge. I mean, it's an inexpensive gauge. It is accurate, but you have to. It's really finicky about. It slips off the trigger all the time, and we'll do it one more time. See, now on that pull, I got 5.5 pounds. Come on, stay on there. There you go. I got it on the right spot. Focus, focus. There you are. So it's like 4 3/4 pounds, 5 pounds, but it's a nice, smooth pull. you can see how that breaks. You put the magazine, if you get that clunk. Ready? Do you ever notice when you have the magazine, it gives you that clunk? Ready? Here we go. You notice the trigger's not moving or jumping around. It has a nice, even pull. See the reset? The trigger doesn't jump or drag. It's just nice and smooth. It's just a nice, smooth, uniform pull all the way through. On the reset, before I did that polishing and deburring work, the trigger would be like, it would kind of skip over certain segments of the trigger bar and the movement, but now it's just nice and silky. No drag. There's no creep. It's just, you get that take up and then the break. There's your reset. And there's your break. One more time. Reset. Break. The only time you feel a hump is, it's actually by design as it's supposed to. It's when the shoe of the trigger bar is engaging and going underneath the spur of the sear. That's the only point you feel it. But that's the combination. If anybody has any questions, leave them in the comments below, by all means. And I always appreciate you guys, your comments. If you could like, subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. It helps me out. I'm not monetized. I just do this because I like to do it. It's a hobby, just like you guys, and I like to help people out and solve their problems with the mystery of this pistol. Oh, one last thing. I put some traction grips on it, and this actually, it gives you a nice uniform feel, and if your hands are a little sweaty, it's not too aggressive. It's got a nice pebbly texture to it. It's really nice. Oh, one last mod. Sorry. Rob, I saw you struggling with your takedown. This is actually an oversized takedown lever. You can get that on eBay also. So it sticks out just a hair. Doesn't interfere with anything. Easy to get. Boom. Just like that. Makes it super easy to take down. I'll do it again. Pull down. Boom. Super easy installation too. Let me see from the sides. Can you see? See how they stick out? Sticks out a little bit more. Gives you a little more meat. Gives you a little more meat to grab onto that. It's exactly what the doctor ordered. Anyway, that's my take on this pistol. I'm really happy with where it is right now. Thanks for watching, everybody. Like I said, please like, subscribe. If you could give me a thumbs up, be greatly appreciated. If you have any suggestions and any content that you want, any questions about this or anything else, if I can answer them for you, I absolutely will answer them. I'll answer all your questions. Once again, thanks for watching. Have yourselves a great day.